Chapter 2, Mishnah 7. This Mishnah discusses someone who buys produce by working for it, rather than by paying money. The Torah states that someone who is hired to work with produce that is not yet completely processed has the right to eat from it as he works. This is not part of his payment. It is a special right given by the Torah to workers. Thus, whatever he takes under this rule is not considered bought, and it may be eaten without separating Maasros. However, in circumstances where a worker is not entitled to take and eat under this law, but he arranged with the owner at the time he was hired to be given the right to eat, the produce he takes is considered bought, because it is a payment for his work. Therefore, he cannot eat it as a snack without separating Maasros. Our Mishnah teaches when produce that is eaten while it is being worked on is considered bought, and when it is not. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If someone hires a worker to help him spread out figs to dry, and the worker says to him, I will work on the condition that I could eat figs while I work, he may eat figs as a snack and is exempt from separating Maasros. Even though he said he wanted to be able to eat figs as part of his wages, he was entitled to them as a worker anyway. Therefore, the figs he takes are not considered payment for his work, and he may eat them as a snack without separating Maasros. However, if he says, I will work on the condition that I and the members of my household can eat figs, or I will work on the condition that my son can eat figs as part of my wage, he, the worker, may eat and is exempt from separating Maasros from what he eats, because he eats by right and not by agreement. And his son or other members of his household may eat, but he is obligated to separate Maasros first. Since the son receives figs only as a payment for his father's work, those figs are considered bought, and they must have Maasros separated before they could be eaten. Another case. If he says, I will work on the condition that I could eat figs while we spread them out to dry even after we have spread them out to dry, he may eat figs at the time that he spreads them out and is exempt from separating Maasros. However, after they have been spread out, he may eat, but he is obligated to separate Maasros from Maasros before eating them, because he is not eating at the time based on the right guaranteed to him by the Torah. That right applies only while he is working with the produce, and once he finishes spreading them out, he is no longer working on the figs. He may eat afterwards only because the owner gave him a right to do so as part of his wages. He must therefore separate Maasros before he eats. This is the rule. Someone who eats produce based on the right granted to him by the Torah as a worker is exempt from tithing that produce. However, someone who does not eat based on the right granted to him by the Torah, but only by agreement with the owner, is obligated to separate Maasros before eating.